We're going to learn how to write an essay and get help from the freely available artificial intelligence tools online. When you're going through high school or college or even grad school, you might be prompted with several questions that you have to write an essay about. So here we're gonna learn how to get help from artificial intelligence or AI tools available. When it comes to essay writing and natural language processing, one of the best tools available that is free is OpenAI ChatGPT. So if you just look up in your search engine ChatGPT, I like to use sometimes DuckDuckGo, which they claim they don't track your data to sell you ads, to show you ads. So if you just look up ChatGPT and then click on openai.com, ChatGPT, optimizing language models, and then try ChatGPT. Okay, let's see. So right now it's telling us that ChatGPT is at capacity now because they've been so popular. So you can write your email here and they'll get back to you and you can sign up later. But even though they show this page here to you that you haven't signed up, since I have signed up already, you see it takes me directly to this page. So it's ready for me because they're prioritizing their existing clients. So they try to give service to those who have already signed up. But if you write your email here, they get back to you and you can sign up as well. Okay, so suppose you're asked to write an essay about rare earth elements, right? So the prompt could be anything from why they're special, what are they, what's their economics, where are the mines or those resources, how do we process them. So depending on the level of your study, if you're at high school or just college or grad school, it could get more in depth. So we just start from a simple essay and we get more in depth, and mostly with the use of ChatGPT. First thing that I'm gonna ask it is that what are rare earth elements? Let's see what it gets. So rare earth elements, the famous abbreviation REE, are a set of 17 chemically similar events in the periodic table that are specifically referred to as lanthanides. The term rare earth can be somewhat misleading as they are not particularly rare in the Earth's crust. However, they are called rare because they tend to occur in very small concentrations and are difficult to extract and purify. Some of the common rare earth elements include cerium, blah, 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 blah. These elements are important for various applications in modern technologies such as electronics, energy, defense, and transportation. So they're very strategic. For example, blah, 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 key elements producing high-strength magnets, while cerium and lanthanum are used in catalytic converters for automobiles. They're also used in various other applications such as batteries, lasers, fluorescent lightning, and in various medical imaging and therapeutic procedures. So you see, that's a good start. Especially this tool is very good for those who struggle with writing, or English is not their first language, or even like you're native in English but like you struggle with just getting started. So this gives you a good start. So I'm going to copy this, and if you're collaborating on a project, you can just drop it on a blank page of Google Doc. You can share this page with your colleagues and peers and start collaborating. So I'm gonna paste it here just without formatting. So there we go. We have a good start. And this is not plagiarism if I copy and paste this, because this information is not written word by word anywhere. So what this tool does is that they have fed this AI, the algorithm, with many available information online before 2021 at the time I'm recording this video. So now this AI is distilling all that information and putting it together for you. So this is not cheating, this is not plagiarism, and this is basically the next level, the future.
This is the future because this is the past.
Basically, like if someone from hundreds of years ago see you using Google or any other search engine, finding information, putting it together, typing it out, they would feel like you're cheating.
Cheaters never prosper.
because they had to go and probably go to library, physically pull out books and read it. So for them, you using Google and your laptop, it feels like cheating, but it's the same kind of, we have another jump, it's like next level of obtaining information. So now here the key is asking good questions. So your input into this is by asking good questions. And here you can give feedback to the AI if you like it, if you like that answer or not. So you would be helping this company, OpenAI, as well to improve their algorithm. So what you're putting in is actually, once you get all the information from here, putting it together, making it flow well and coherent, as well as asking the right question from the AI. So we have a good start. Now let's get deeper here. For example, I'm curious, they're saying the rare earth element is misleading because they're not particularly rare. So let's find out, where are those places in the world that are rich in rare earth elements and people extract them. So I'm going to ask, where are some of the locations that are rich in rare earth elements? There are several locations around the world rich in earth elements. Some of the major producing countries include China. China is currently the largest producer of rare earth elements, accounting for over 70% of world's total production. Some of the major producing rare earth elements producing regions China include these: Australia, Russia, and United States as well. Where else? India, and also some other countries including Brazil, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam. So I'm gonna again copy this portion and add it to what we had so far, and at the very end we are going to just make it to flow better. Again, I'm gonna just paste it as without formatting. At the end we're gonna revisit, of course, read it again. We're not just gonna submit. If you copy paste just from ChatGPT and submit, I'm sure you're not gonna get a good grade on your essay. So you have to come back and edit and make sure it makes sense and it flows well. All right, so we have an intro, we have some information about where these elements are located. So these were all the locations on Earth that are rich in rare earth element. Are there any planet or moon that is rich in rare earth elements? So let's see. Are there any extraterrestrial sources, or you can just say, put it in simpler words, are there any sources of rare earth element outside of planet Earth? You can put it that way. Are there any extraterrestrial sources of rare earth elements? Because that would be cool just to know, because soon perhaps we'll be able to harvest stuff from outer space as well, like go hunt a meteor or a moon or something. As far as our current knowledge and technology goes, there's no evidence of rare elements existing in a concentrated form other celestial bodies like the moon, Mars, or asteroids. However, there have been some recent studies and missions aimed at exploring the possibility of finding rare earth on, particularly on the moon and asteroids. One reason for this interest is that the supply is limited on Earth from the moon. Asteroid would require significant. Okay, so it looks like not much have been known about this, but it's also good to mention that in your essay that you looked into outer space too. And by the way, you could have a limit like 2-page, 3-page essay, or even 1-page essay. So at the end, when you are editing, you can actually decide what to keep, what to summarize, and what to just get rid of, what kind of information. You can prioritize on that at the end. All right, in some intros, some information about the locations, even on Earth, outside of the Earth. What else? So how do they extract these? Like, what are the ore? What kind of ores? Ore is the kind of the natural way of that metal exists, that element exists in planet Earth. For example, for iron, it usually exists as some sort of iron oxide, and usually when you see the soil is red, that means it's rich in iron. Some sort of iron oxide could be found there. Or for copper, you see when the soil is kind of greenish, that means that particular spot is rich in copper. So what about rare earth elements? Like, what kind of ores and what are some of the common ores of rare earth elements. So you see, instead of going and Googling and then you choose those resources to read and then perhaps paraphrase on your own, this tool is doing it for you. So that's the contribution of the AI. And your contribution here is just asking good questions, knowing what to ask, which is not small. Like, you have to ask good questions in order to get good information. What are some of the common ores of rare earth elements, and what is their chemical composition? Let's see. Rare earth elements are usually found in mineral ores that contain a mixture of several different rare and other ones. Some of the common ores include monazite. Okay, it's like, sounds like money. The monazite is a phosphate mineral that contains a mixture of cerium, lanthanum. Okay, the chemical formula of monazite is, so it's the phosphate of these rare earth element. PO4 is phosphate. Okay, this one I'm not even gonna try to read. Bastanazite. Why it has a 2 dot on it? Xenotime. These are interesting information. These are some of the most common ores of rare earth element. Okay, let's copy that as well, and again paste without formatting. Okay, so we have, now we know about the ores, where they are and what are their names and some of their chemical compositions. What about, how do we extract them actually? How do we single out those from this ore? How do we just take the rare earth element and dump the rest? So what are some of the common extraction methods for rare earth elements? So another good thing about this tool is that it remembers your previous conversation. So you see here, I have a tab here, I have a chat. It says, what are rare earth elements, which is the first question I asked. So if you open a new chat here, again, that will be another conversation. But under this tab, under this chat, it remembers all of our previous conversation. So that makes it better to interact, more efficient to interact with. There are several methods used to extract rare earth elements from their ores, but the most common methods include solvent extraction. It's a hydrometallurgical process, so you probably use the use of some acids. They leach it out, they dissolve those elements that you're interested in, and then they extract them downstream. Ion exchange, froth flotation. So chemical engineers and also material scientists and metallurgists must be more familiar with these methods. It's kind of special about their subject. Magnetic separation, interesting. So some of these rare earth elements have magnetic properties, so you can separate them in that way too. All right, we go and take up this information as well. So it's a more efficient way of looking up information. You see, you ask the question and it is given, the answer is given. So we now learned about some of the extraction methods. How about we now delve into one of these? We choose one of these extraction methods and we just delve more into it to provide, just as an example, like, this is how this method works. How about that? So solvent extraction. Now I'm gonna go, since it remembers our previous chat, I'm gonna go and ask the AI, can you, let's be polite, could you provide more detailed information about the first method of extraction you introduced, that is solvent extraction. Please mention any relevant chemical equation or compounds that may be used in this process. kind of hard to read the acronym. Like, what would you call this? REEs or REEs? Let's just call them REEs.
Like a summer evening breeze.
And the REEs are stripped from the organic phase using a stripping solution.
A strip club!
So what they mean by stripping is that, okay, you solved the REEs into the acid. You mix them well, now they're dissolved in the acid. So stripping means you add another agent. It's gonna now come out of the solution and sort of solidify or precipitate.
All right, yeah, sure.
So I go ahead and copy this as well. So now if you're doing this for grad school, now you may want to use another tool that I'm sure you're already familiar with. That's Google Scholar. So you come to Google Scholar and you ask now more in-depth questions. And here it's not like the AI that you talk to it. It's just now you have to put keywords here. So here I'm going to say rare earth elements, solvent extraction. Let's see, what do we get? Solvent extraction using phosphonic. Okay, now you can go even one level deeper and you can actually cite this article in your essay. So you have to be sure if this article is a good one and this journal is a good one. So one thing you have to do is that copy the name of the journal and then look up. So put the name of journal and then say impact factor. Impact factor. So in that way you can recognize if that journal is good enough. So is trustable or not. Hydrometallurgy journal has an impact of 4.156. So as a rule of thumb, you don't want to use any information from journals that they have impact factor of less than 1. And this impact factor means something like how often or how frequent other researchers are referring to articles from this particular journal, right? So it's a measure of how much other people are trusting this journal, are citing or using the information from this journal. So you want to use only, so this is okay. This is very okay. Hydrometallurgy 4.156 during 2022 and 2023. So it's okay, we can go ahead and use this journal. So this is for those of you who are in grad school. It could be interesting. So I would here add, for example, right here, I will add, for example, these authors, blah and blah, they did such and such using this and this, and they found blah and blah, right? You can do this for as many studies as you want. And then perhaps even if you want to go more in depth, you can even read more papers and say these people did that and that people did this and this is the difference, they did better, and so on. All right, now let's see. Now we have everything other than how expensive are these rare earth elements. So how costly is the extraction process and what are the prices of rare earth elements? So REEs. Although this AI has been taught by information only prior to 2021, so we may not be able to trust this price information. So we may have to just look up that with Google. Maybe in the future they just make it up to date. But for now, I know it's just prior to 2021. So the cost vary widely depending on several factors, including the deposit, blah, blah, blah. In general, can be complex and challenging process. Often involves a series of steps, including mining, milling, leaching. Okay, we know that. You told us before. Historically have been relatively inexpensive, but in recent years, prices of some of them have been increased due to increasing demand from a variety of applications, including renewable energy technologies. It is worth noting that the extraction process so they used to be kind of inexpensive, but in recent years more expensive. Obviously we're using more electronics, and so the demand for them is higher. So I paste these information as well. But now let's get some more information about their prices. So I go here and I search prices of rare earth elements. Let's see what we get. That's a good thing about Google, because you know where this information come from. With the other one, you just have to blindly trust it. Rare earth element prices, dysprosium price. So the current price is this much per kilogram. The year-to-date price change from 2020. You see, since 2020, the price has almost doubled. All of them either doubled or more than. Wow, this one. ptable.com is another good tool. You can just see the elements and many information. So anything between 57 and 71 is considered rare earth element, or lanthanides, as we wrote here at the very beginning. They also call them rare earth lanthanides. So now you can even mention some prices and the change in those prices. For example, in this list, I see this is kind of the most expensive one. So I can just add here, or let's first ask the AI, what is the most expensive rare earth element? Let's see what it suggests. You see, it cannot cite anything after 2021. Is dysprosium. However, on this website, we saw dysprosium is not actually as expensive as. So the demand for terbium, or whatever it might be, has risen. So I'm going to copy that information too and paste it here. And then right at the bottom of it, I'm going to now distill information from here. For example, this is now from us. We say terbium price.
One of the most expensive rare earth elements is terbium. Terbium with an atomic terbium.
You can put in parentheses atomic number 65, I guess. 65. That costs, you can just say around $4,000 per kilogram. The price of this element has increased by more than 500% since 2020. So this, the ChatGPT was not able to recognize this, because these only given information up to 2021. So it's a recent development with the fact that terbium has a higher price here. Okay, so they're changing their prices, and these are the variables that they depend on. So those are good that we have list them here. Now, even you can mention some shifts that could happen in the future. So again, the ChatGPT cannot help you, because we're talking about the very recent information that are happening. So I know some things are going between US and China with regards to deals, and I'm sure it could be related to rare earth elements, because they're so useful in military and highly advanced technological applications. So let's just let's look up US China rare earth elements. Let's see what. China dominates the market as of today. The new US plan to rival. So let's see what is US plan, for example, to rival China on this concerning a market in rare earth metals. So you see, all I did is asking questions and just gathered information. So in the past, you had to walk to the library and pull out some books. Welcome, please support our journalism by allow ads. So I'm not going to allow ads here, sorry. Or I could by just using my Safari. Can the West shake its dependence on China's rare? So it looks like the West is completely dependent on China's rare earth element. So you can even get more in depth by reading such articles. Weaponization of the rare earth element sector. China's continuing dominance, blah, blah, blah. Halted exports of materials to Japan. Interesting. So it depends what is, for example, if you're a political science major in college and you're asked to write an essay about rare earth elements. You can now de-emphasize some of the more technical parts and focus just on political side of it and what's going on between China and US. Now it comes the time that you want to edit this and make it into a coherent essay. So that's gonna take the probably most of the time here. You have to read it again and make sure it flows well and edit it. For this you can get help from ChatGPT. So you can say this: write a 2-page essay about rare earth elements and use all the information that is included in our conversation in this chat. Let's see. So usually it follows the normal format of essays, like some intro, conclusion. So when you tell it make 2-page or 3-page, it doesn't right away make 2 or 3 pages. It makes it shorter. So you have to keep asking it. It's like, no, make it longer, or use this many words until you get what you want. So, and it usually does a good job with just putting information from different sources together. So now you're getting a more coherent document, definitely. So you can open even another page. You have these here, and you paste what it produces now with the essay, where it's putting all the information together on a different page, and you start editing that or inserting information from one to another until you get to your final draft that satisfies you. And of course the paid version would be faster. Here you can buy the paid version. I think it's like a $20 per month thing, subscription fee, that you will never receive, or not never, but like you less frequently receiving those prompts that say we're at capacity right now. And also it will be faster for you, so you could in a blink. I haven't seen the paid version, and I'm not planning to buy one, but
I just don't know what to say.
I'm just telling you that it exists here. So you see the last paragraph, the conclusion. That's it. It got tired, so even didn't put a period at the end here. Interesting. Okay, we forgive him. Now I copy this. You can either paste it here or even open a new page. Let's see how many pages it's now. So it's one and one paragraphs. You see, I said 2 pages, but now it's this much. So it's a terrible tool.
Actual piece of garbage.
So you have to, if you want to make it longer, you can actually prompt it with another question and say, can you make it longer? Can you make it 1,000 words? Can you make it 5,000 words? And again, it's not going to do it. You have to again keep asking. So I think it's something to keep their traffic low. So it just aims at lower than what you said. Now you have this template. Now you go find more information from your detailed conversation with the AI and include those here, right? So this now still needs editing. You have to edit this one as well. But you can now insert information more easily because this is already better structured. So hope you enjoyed it. You can do this with pretty much any topic, and it's a good starting point. Definitely don't just submit this one, right? Although you want a C- maybe. It will get a C. I mean, depends. In high school, definitely this is already a good thing. But definitely for college and grad school, you need to delve deeper and perhaps cite some of these articles from which you can look up from Google Scholar. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful. If it add any value to you, please consider subscribing. It would help us continue this channel and this path.